I feel is going to continue to make us more unique and stand out is people can learn and be entertained, captivated without also being a super overt like, so no, this is
here 10 steps to
empathy 101.
Yeah,
No, we're just having a conversation. This is how we naturally.
Because this is how I would be with my homies, and it's like at the same time, it's like I feel like, let's just use the gym for example, right? If I went to the gym 5 days a week and you went to the gym twice a week, who you think gonna be more in shape?
Me. I'm genetically modified and gifted.
I told you on the first episode, Q was a liar. The lies continue.
I'm just telling the truth. I'm sorry.
I tried to defend him. He's a liar. But no. But what I would have said was, to your point, was fair enough. It does matter what you do in that time frame.
But
so you can.
Hypothetical,
but hypothetically, if we did the same amount of work,
yes,
I would be more in shape, right? And I feel like that's how personal development look, right? So I read hundreds of books. I've done therapy. Naturally, me and you can have the same level IQ. Naturally, I will be farther along in my journey only because I started before you and I've done the work. So my goal is always to help the people I fuck with, whether I know you directly or not. I got a relationship with all human beings, meaning I want everybody to grow. If I can provide perspective, insight, wisdom, or challenge your perspective, I'm always going to do that. So I appreciate like the openness and the vulnerableness to even share certain things and be willing to, because a lot of us as men we get so stuck in our ways, and I say we, but this really don't apply to me today because I do the work, but I can say as a man throughout my manhood, getting stuck in my ways where it's like, if it's not broke, I don't have to fix it. But what I had to start telling myself is, it ain't about if it's not broke, not fixing it. Some shit just need to be updated. Like if you think about iPhones, the iPhone 4 probably still works.
Absolutely.
But they still updated it. They upgraded, they fixed little bugs and they tweaked it. It's still the iPhone though. It's just a reformed version. So now I think we at like motherfucking iPhone 25 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You know,
give or take. Yeah.
But we so far along from the iPhone 3, 4, 5 that was a part of our upbringing. It does so many different things. We remember iPhone 4s when they introduced FaceTime. Now you can do group FaceTime. Remember when they introduced group messages? So that's what it looks like to do the personal work, where it's like, I'm already pretty good as a person. But if I can go a little bit farther in depth to refine these things about me, I can be much better as a father, as a man, as a leader, as a brother, as a friend. And that's how these conversations stem about, and I hope to leave with. So it's funny because one of my goals today was to challenge Q's thoughts. It's literally written right here. Literally challenge Q's thoughts.
Interesting. Okay.
It was a goal. Why? Because when I was watching all 3 of the episodes, I was like, okay, you use the word like-minded a lot, right? And I'm like, that's fair. It's a fair assessment. But when I thought in 2 different episodes, one you said you don't read, and the other one was like, I don't do therapy because I don't feel like I need it. Right. I said, I have to challenge this nigga's growth. Only because I'm like, I reached at a point where it was like, I'm smart. I got this figured out. And it's really nothing that so many homies I know said, man, I don't need to read. And then when they read, you know what they say? I already knew that, which is the truth. Because there's no stone that went unturned through the 365 days of all of the years under the sun. But it's not about knowing, it's about doing. Like if everybody know cars drive, but not everybody know how to drive a car. Like you can read the manual, but you still got to get in the fucking car and drive the shit. So I be driving these conversations in that direction. So I just wanted to,
this boy good.
That nigga good. but again, I don't never want to change anybody. Just again, challenge it. And I do want to challenge you because the growth you said you want to talk about accountability, and we're not going to not talk about empathy, but I'm going to tie it to this. Okay. I want you to open a book for the first time and play a sound effect when you do this. You need to the golden arcs need to come over it. Go to the table of contents.
Yes, sir.
You tell me what chapter seems like it would.
The tableau of table of contents. Yes, sir. Which one?
Just tell me which chapter you feel like piques your attention in this moment.
Pushing past your limits.
Pushing past your limits. What's the subtitle today?
Accountability teams.
All right, set it back here. Perfect. That's a good pushing past your limits. So go ahead. You got to respond.
Yeah, can I respond real quick? Sure. To your point, you said, a lot of people, a lot of your friends who feel they don't really read because they already smart, they know a lot, whatever. So I'm the type of person where I am aware that I'm like kind of I'm gonna say my fucking genius, but I'm a little mentally talented and gifted. Like I was able to, go through school, graduate without having to read and shit like that, whatever. However, though,
this nigga's good.
Yeah, I've never read a book.
Nigga said he went through college without reading.
Absolutely. I got an infamous story. Me and my friend, we was in the same political science class, whatever, had this infamous last 12-page paper for this book, some shit what it was. And he studied and read the book, this and that, whatever. I saw the book, looked at the front and back, skimmed it.
What's Mike's name on Suits? What's his last name?
Mike Ross.
This nigga's Mike Ross.
Mike Ross. Like,
Q Ross from now on. This is Q Ross.
Fun fact. That show premiered on my birthday, and I learned a lot from that show.
No, that shit
everybody watch Suits, yo.
Suits is a great show. That's one of my favorites. The reason I call him Mike Ross because Mike Ross had a photographic memory. He didn't have to read nothing. Nigga would just take a glance at it, and he could remember everything. He passed the bar without going to law school. That nigga was different.
For sure.
So here we have it. Q Ross, everybody.
I've done some similar things, but I appreciate that, kid. But yeah, so I understand that I'm able to do that, whatever. However, though, I'm definitely not against progressive growing and learning or whatever.
I never got that vibe from you.
Sure. So I just learned very early on that, okay, reading is not my thing. That's not the best medium for me to take in information or whatever.
Audiobooks?
So, no. So
information in that regard is not mine.
I probably watch more documentaries than anybody, whatever.
That's respect.
And I will do a fucking deep dive on Reddit and Google, all type of shit, whatever, and I'll do a conversation.
So you do read, because on Reddit you have the
articles and passages.
You just don't read
excerpts.
Books.
Yes.
Understood.
Yeah, I definitely read.
No, just context is key.
That's fair. And again, I'm watching a documentary last night about all this bone shit going on, whatever. Yeah. So it was like, I'm all about information, and I feel that's one thing we have in common where we about being better. And, and I feel you can be better in different ways and at different times, different speeds, whatever, or by different means. So
respect. Let's go. But all right, pushing past your limits. That's like that's like chapter 18 or something like that. And don't quote me. Charge it to my memory and not my heart. But it's at the end of the book.
He's not Ross.
He's Ross. I'm not Ross. But all in all, pushing past your limits and accountability team, that's actually part 2. The first part to it, I was talking about actually building an accountability team. Second part was about what the accountability team's purpose is. So pushing past your limits, you only can go as far as you know. You only can see as far as you can see. Absolutely. So with that being the case, having an accountability team to push you past your limits is people seeing in you the things you don't see in yourself and challenging you to be great in a non-toxic way, a more conducive manner. So this is actually one of those moments where I'm pushing you past your limits because I'm challenging you to read or to think or to reflect in ways that, and you need it because, again, if you don't get around people who are more advanced than you in certain areas, your growth will be stalled. Absolutely. Because you either going to shrink or stretch to your environment. If you go around people where you're the smartest one in the room, you'll have to shrink yourself to fit in because you're not going to be the know-it-all. But you go in rooms where you are not the smartest, but you are respected as someone of intelligence, you have no choice but to expand your limits. And I'll give you a prime example, right? Say if we're in a basketball team together, right? And your goal is to score the most points on the team, right? If the most points on the team is 15, how much do you have to average the most on the team if the most is 15? 16. Literally, you said that's what I was looking for. If you go to a team where the highest average is 30, then you have to average 31. Right. You averaging 16 does not mean that you're performing your best or that that's all you have. That's just you accomplishing your goal of performing higher than anybody on that team. If you go to a team with a higher average, you got to have no choice but to stretch to create and reach that level.
Do more to possibly even.
So that's what the whole chapter entails. That's what it's about. It's about putting yourself in environments that push you past your limits. You know what I mean? Knowing like, all right, this dude shoots 200 shots a day. I was only shooting 100, but his norm is 200. I got to put up 200 to even keep up with this boy. It's like Kobe's whole philosophy on going to practice 3 times a day instead of 2 times. He understood that over time, he would eventually be better than his peers. And it happened. Why? Because he simply put in one more practice session than they did per day. So that's the whole concept of pushing you past your limits. And that's like on the back end of accountability. And some of the things that I talk about is about taking accountability, but also being able to receive accountable and also being able to hold others accountable. Because those 3 different things, like you can very much be great at taking accountability. Like, yo, damn, I fucked up. But when somebody tries to help you see that, you probably don't receive it well. You attacking me. And then when it comes to hold somebody else accountable, you probably don't know how to go to them and say, yo, listen, I want you to understand this is where you went wrong. You might be like, motherfucker, you fucked up. You need the X, Y, and Z. So this book is a tool to teach you how not to weaponize it and how not to take it personal, as well as in allowing it to just flow through you. So being an accountable person, which is one of the things that I reference in the book, that's what I call it, being an accountable person. When you're an accountable person, you naturally, honestly self-reflect. Like naturally, I go into every situation literally reflecting on what I did wrong.
And you have after our conversation at times as well, yo.
I have to because I've even one time I said, yo, Q, you was over talking me a lot. And I went back and listened. I said, I was over talking him a lot too. I said, bro, I'm letting you know that I did notice this, but I have to work on that as well because I noticed that about myself. The reason being is because, again, going back to the whole hypocrisy thing, we often overlook the same things that we do to others. But we notice it when it's done to us. So for me, honest self-reflection is key, which is why I was a mirror on the book, because you got to be able to, if you can't assess yourself, nobody's going to be able to tell you nothing. And you don't want to be that person that can't be like, yo, damn, I realized that I could have went about it like this. And I'm always looking to get better. So I'm like, damn, I can get off any call. Damn, did I say that right? Did I? And it's not toxic to a point where I'm overthinking. Right. It's just a little quick assessment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you the difference between an overthinker and an assessment. Both going to do the same thing. You're going to play the scenario out in your head and figure out what you could have did differently. The toxic overthinker is going to replay that moment over and over. The assessor is going to know that I can't change what I did in the past, but I can change what I'm going to do moving forward, and I'm not going to allow it to happen again. And that's how you do it. So, and
conclude in a